Seniors, what if I told you there are 5 essential vitamins that can transform your leg health, stop cramps, and restore strength, making you feel like you're in your 40s again? For years, we've been fed the same story by pharmaceutical companies, pushing expensive medications while conveniently overlooking these natural solutions. The truth is, there are 5 vitamins you can take right now that have the power to completely change your leg strength and overall health. For decades, this information has been buried under layers of medical jargon and corporate interests. What if I told you that a large number of seniors suffering from painful leg cramps and muscle weakness are actually deficient in these key vitamins? The medical community is aware of this, yet most doctors won't mention it because simple, affordable solutions don't align with their profit-driven agendas. Tonight, we're pulling back the curtain on the hidden science behind these 5 vitamins that don't just stop leg cramps, they actually rebuild muscle strength from the inside out. All of the facts I'm about to share with you are backed by peer-reviewed scientific research and clinical evidence. Before we dive in, let me ask you something. Have you ever woken up at 3 a.m. with a leg cramp so intense you thought your muscle might tear? Or maybe you struggle to climb stairs the way you used to? Share your experience in the comments below. I'm personally reading and responding to each one with tailored advice just for you. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more helpful content like this. Now, let's get started by discussing the first vitamin you should be aware of. Let's talk about vitamin B12. And I want you to really listen closely here, because for so many men over 50, this is the quiet thief of leg strength. You might think your problem is just sore muscles or getting older, but what if the real issue is that the nerves sending signals to your legs aren't firing properly? What if your muscles are perfectly fine, but they're not even getting the right message to move? That's what a vitamin B12 deficiency can do, and it's far more common in seniors than most people realize. Here's the thing. B12 is like the wiring in your home. You can have the strongest appliances in the world, but if the wiring is frayed or faulty, nothing runs right. Your legs depend on healthy, insulated nerves to respond quickly when you stand, climb stairs, or catch yourself from a stumble. Without enough B12, those nerve signals slow down or misfire. And that's when you start to feel that heaviness, that dragging sensation, maybe even numbness or tingling that you just chalked up to poor circulation. Now, why is this happening so often after 50? Part of it's biology. As you age, your stomach produces less acid, and you need acid to absorb B12 from food. Add in common medications like acid reflux pills or metformin for diabetes, and you've basically shut the door on your B12 absorption without even knowing it. Here's the kicker. The longer this deficiency goes untreated, the more damage it can cause, and some of it can be permanent. That's why it's so important to catch it early. Think about this. Have you ever had one of those nights where your legs just feel off? Not exactly cramped, but weak, shaky, maybe a little numb, and you wonder, what is going on? That could be your body screaming for B12. And if you've got diabetes, pre-diabetes, or you're on certain meds, the risk is even higher. The good news? Restoring your B12 levels can be a game changer. I've seen men go from feeling unstable and tired on their feet to walking with confidence again in just a matter of weeks after correcting a deficiency. You can get B12 from foods like salmon, tuna, eggs, and dairy, but if your absorption is poor, a supplement or even a periodic B12 injection might be the fastest route. It's safe, it's inexpensive, and unlike a lot of miracle fixes you hear about online, this one is backed by solid clinical research. But here's the question I want you to keep in your head. Even if your nerve signals are firing perfectly, what happens if your muscles themselves are missing a critical mineral they need to contract and relax smoothly through the night? That's what we're uncovering next. And if you've ever woken up with your calf in a rock-hard knot, you'll want to hear every word. All right, let's move on to potassium. And I bet you've heard of this one mostly in the context of bananas. But here's the thing. If you're waking up at 2 in the morning with your calf twisted into a rock-hard knot, potassium could be the missing piece of the puzzle. The twist? A lot of men over 50 in the U.S. think they're getting enough. But when we check their blood work, it's another story. And sometimes it's not about what you eat at all. It's about the medications quietly draining your reserves. Think about it. Are you on blood pressure pills or water pills? Many of these, especially diuretics, don't just flush out water, they flush out potassium. Without enough potassium, your muscles can't maintain the delicate balance between contraction and relaxation. That's when you get those sudden, intense cramps that bolt you upright in the middle of the night, gasping in pain. You might rub your leg, pace around, maybe even drink water, thinking it'll help. But if your potassium levels are low, that cramp is just waiting to strike again. Here's where it gets tricky. Potassium isn't just about muscles. It also plays a role in keeping your heart rhythm steady. Too little can cause cramps and weakness, but too much, especially if you have kidney issues, can be dangerous. That's why blindly taking supplements isn't the smart move. The smartest thing you can do is talk to your doctor about checking your potassium levels, especially if you're on any medication for blood pressure, heart issues, or swelling in your legs. Now, let's say your levels are low. What then? Nature's given us plenty of potassium-rich foods. Bananas, sure, but also baked potatoes with the skin, spinach, beans, oranges, and sweet potatoes. When you start including these regularly, you're giving your muscles the electrolyte support they need to relax properly at night. Some men notice fewer cramps within days of making the change. But here's a question for you. If your potassium is fine, your B12 is fine, why are you still cramping up? Could it be that your muscles are actually lacking the raw strength to hold you steady? That the problem isn't just the cramp, but the fact your legs are getting weaker every month you ignore this? That's where the next vitamin comes in, one that starts not in your diet, but in the sunlight on your skin. And if you've been avoiding the sun or spending most of your time indoors, you'll want to hear this. Let's talk about vitamin D. And before you roll your eyes thinking this is just about bones, hear me out. This one is like the master switch for your legs. And if it's turned off, no amount of stretching or massage is going to keep those cramps from creeping back in. Have you noticed your legs feeling heavier over the past few years? Maybe climbing a flight of stairs feels like a workout now. Or you catch yourself hesitating before stepping off a curb because you're not sure you'll land steady. That hesitation might not be in your head. It could be in your muscles, and vitamin D is right at the center of it. Here's the thing. Vitamin D isn't just about keeping your bones from breaking. It's about making sure your muscles respond when your brain tells them to move. Without it, your fast-twitch muscle fibers, the ones that keep you from falling when you trip, start to weaken. Studies have shown that low vitamin D levels are directly linked to muscle weakness and slower reaction times in older adults. That means if your D is low, you're not just at risk for cramps. You're at risk for falls. And we both know that one bad fall after 60 can change everything. Now, why is this deficiency so common in seniors? Your skin gets less efficient at making vitamin D from sunlight as you age, and if you're like many men over 50, you're spending more time indoors. Add in sunscreen or cloudy winters, and your body's reserves can drop fast. And once they do, your legs can start to feel like they're betraying you, even when you've done nothing wrong. Have you had your vitamin D checked lately? Because here's something to think about. You might be walking around with half the level your body actually needs to keep your muscles firing the way they should. And the fix? Sometimes it's as simple as spending 15-30 minutes in the morning sun with your arms and legs exposed. If that's not enough, fatty fish like salmon, fortified dairy, or a supplement of 800 to 1,000 IU can make a big difference. But here's the twist. Even if you get your D levels back up, what happens if your muscles still don't have the mineral they need to release tension and relax properly at night? That's where so many men make the same mistake, chasing the wrong fix while ignoring the one nutrient that controls the entire contract and relax cycle. And I'm willing to bet it's one you've already heard about, maybe even tried, but probably in the wrong way. That's exactly what we're covering next. Now we come to magnesium, the mineral that's probably been suggested to you a dozen times by friends, health blogs, maybe even your doctor. But let's be honest, have you ever taken magnesium for your cramps and thought, well, that didn't do much? You're not alone. The truth is, magnesium can be a miracle for the right person and almost useless for the wrong one. The difference? Whether you actually need it. Here's why it matters so much. Every single time your muscle contracts and relaxes, whether you're lifting your leg to climb into bed or simply shifting your foot under the covers, magnesium is there in the background making sure that process is smooth. When your levels are low, the relax signal doesn't get through properly. That's when your calf seizes up into a rock, often right when you're drifting into your deepest sleep. You jolt awake, grab your leg, and for those 30 seconds, nothing else exists except that pain. And even after it passes, you're lying there tense, waiting for the next one. So why are so many men over 50 low in magnesium without realizing it? Stress, processed food, certain blood pressure medications, acid reflux meds, even coffee can drain your reserves. And if you're not eating a steady supply of leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and whole grains, you're starting the night with an empty tank. That's why some guys swear magnesium changed their sleep, and others see no difference, because if your tank isn't empty, topping it off won't change the ride. Have you thought about this? Maybe the reason your cramps are worse now than 10 years ago isn't just age, but the fact that over those 10 years you've slowly lost the minerals that keep your muscles calm. And here's something worth noting. Not all magnesium supplements are created equal. Forms like magnesium citrate or glycinate tend to absorb better and cause fewer stomach issues. But even if you get the magnesium part right, there's still one last vitamin, the one that surprised researchers by directly reducing nighttime leg cramps in seniors. It's not in every multivitamin, it's not on most doctors' radar, and yet, in clinical trials, it made the cramps shorter, weaker, and less frequent. And if you've been shaking your head at all the other fixes you've tried, this one might just be the turning point. And now we've reached the one that most men over 50 have never even heard about for leg cramps. Vitamin K2. Not K1, the leafy green vitamin that helps your blood clot, but K2, the one that quietly directs calcium to exactly where your body needs it and keeps it out of where it doesn't belong. You might be wondering, what does that have to do with waking up in the middle of the night clutching your calf? More than you think. Here's the link. When calcium ends up in your soft tissues instead of your bones and muscles, it can cause stiffness, poor circulation, and yes, cramps. K2 acts like a traffic cop, telling calcium, bones over here, muscles over there, arteries, stay clear. Without enough of it, your muscles may not get the structural support they need to work smoothly, especially when you're at rest. That's when you get that sudden, ripping cramp that makes you jump out of bed. What's wild is that clinical research, real peer-reviewed trials with older adults, has shown that K2 supplementation can actually reduce the frequency, intensity, and duration of nighttime leg cramps. We're not talking about vague wellness claims. This is measurable change in how often people woke up in pain. Imagine cutting those episodes in half or more. Wouldn't that change your whole relationship with sleep? So where do you get K2? It's in foods most of us hardly eat anymore. Things like natto, a fermented soybean dish popular in Japan, certain aged cheeses, egg yolks, and organ meats. For many men, that means a supplement is the most practical way to reach effective levels. And here's a bonus. K2 works even better when your vitamin D levels are healthy, because together they build stronger bones and keep calcium where it belongs. Have you ever noticed how the nights you don't cramp are the nights you sleep deeper, wake up clearer, and move easier the next morning? That's what happens when your muscles aren't spending the night fighting themselves. Now think back to the very beginning of this conversation, that image of you at 3 in the morning, doubled over in pain. What if that never happened again? What would you do with that extra energy, that better sleep, that confidence in your legs? This is where it all comes together. The cramps, the weakness, the slow mornings, they're not just part of getting older. They're signals. And now you know the 5 key nutrients that can answer those signals. The only question left is, will you keep ignoring them, or will tonight be the night you start taking back your legs? So let's bring it all full circle. Picture that first moment we talked about. You, jolted awake in the middle of the night, clutching your leg, wondering if it's going to rip in two. Now imagine instead rolling over, still half asleep, and drifting right back into a deep, easy rest because your legs feel calm, steady, and strong. That's not a fantasy. That's what happens when you give your body the tools it's been missing. You've just heard about the 5 vitamins and minerals that can change everything for your leg health. B12 to keep the nerve signals sharp, potassium to keep the contractions in check, vitamin D to keep your muscles reactive and strong, magnesium to relax those fibers when they need it, and vitamin K2 to make sure calcium is in the right place, doing the right job. Every one of them is backed by real science, not marketing fluff. And if you've been stuck in that cycle of pain, stretching, pacing the bedroom floor at 2 in the morning, you know exactly how much this matters. Here's the thing, though. Knowing is nothing without action. You could close this video and keep living with the same cramps, the same weak mornings, the same fear that one wrong step will send you down. Or you could take the first small step tonight. Maybe it's checking your last blood work for B12 and potassium. Maybe it's adding a magnesium-rich dinner. Maybe it's getting 20 minutes of sunlight tomorrow morning. Every little change is a signal to your body that you're done putting up with this. And before you tell yourself you'll start next week, ask this. How many more nights are you willing to lose to pain? How many more mornings do you want to wake up feeling like your legs belong to someone else? You've got the knowledge now. You've got the plan. All that's left is to decide. I want you to tell me in the comments which one of these 5 you're going to start with. Are you going for B12 first? Are you finally giving K2 a shot? I'll be reading and answering every single one because no one should have to go through another night like the ones you've been having. And if you're ready to rebuild your legs from the inside out, hit subscribe and keep watching. We've got more science-backed tips coming that will keep you moving, sleeping, and living like you're 20 years younger. So, what's it going to be tonight? Another fight with your legs, or the first night of getting them back?